Carinus, who reigned as the Roman emperor from 283 to 285 AD, is one of the more obscure figures in Roman imperial history. His brief reign, marked by internal turmoil and external threats, ended with his death in a manner that highlights the instability of the late Roman Empire. Carinus was born around 250 AD, the son of the Roman emperor Carus, who ruled from 283 to 285 AD. Little is known about his early life, but it's presumed that Carinus was groomed for imperial power from a young age, likely having been involved in military and administrative matters under the tutelage of his father. His lineage also included the prominent Carus family, which was originally of humble origins but had risen to great influence through the military. Carinus's rise to power occurred during a time of great instability in the Roman Empire. In 283 AD, his father, Carus, was declared emperor after the death of Emperor Probus. Carus and his son Carinus were both elevated to the purple, with Carus ruling from the eastern portion of the empire and Carinus managing the western provinces. The early years of Carinus's reign were marked by a focus on military campaigns and consolidating power in the western regions. Carinus's authority was challenged early on by the fact that the Roman Empire was dealing with incursions by Germanic tribes, particularly the Carpi in the Danube region. His position was somewhat precarious as there were constant threats both within the empire and along its borders. In 283 AD, Carus was struck down, reportedly due to either a lightning strike or a natural cause during a campaign in Persia. With Carus's death, Carinus was left as the sole ruler of the Roman Empire. However, his reign would not last long. Soon after Carus's death, another significant political event occurred. Carinus's younger brother, Numerian, was also proclaimed emperor. Numerian was stationed in the east and was supported by his own military faction. The situation quickly became volatile when, in 284 AD, Numerian was found dead under mysterious circumstances, with some ancient historians claiming that he was murdered by his own staff, particularly his Praetorian prefect, Arrius Aper. The death of Numerian left the throne effectively open for Carinus, but his rule was challenged by Diocletian, a military commander who was also campaigning in the east. The most significant challenge to Carinus's rule came from Diocletian, who had been acclaimed emperor by his troops after Numerian's death. Diocletian was a military officer with great organizational and strategic skills, and he quickly became a threat to Carinus's reign. The two men would soon come into direct conflict. By the time of the Battle of Margus in modern-day Serbia in 285 AD, Carinus had been engaged in a civil war against Diocletian for control of the empire. The battle itself was a decisive one in which Diocletian's forces overwhelmed Carinus's army. In the chaos that followed the defeat, Carinus was killed, though the precise circumstances of his death remain unclear. Some sources suggest that he was murdered by his own troops, possibly due to dissatisfaction with his leadership, while others claim he died in battle. Either way, his death marked the end of his reign and paved the way for Diocletian to become the sole emperor of the Roman Empire. Carinus's reign, though short, is often seen as emblematic of the instability that characterized the Roman Empire during the crisis of the 3rd century. His death and the subsequent rise of Diocletian marked a turning point in the history of the empire. Diocletian would go on to reform the empire, stabilizing its governance and military structure, most notably through the establishment of the Tetrarchy, a system of co-rule with multiple emperors that sought to prevent the fragmentation and chaos that had plagued the empire during Carinus's reign. Carinus's death left a brief and contested legacy. While he failed to establish a lasting dynasty or make significant political reforms, he did play a role in the turbulent political landscape of his time. His reign was ultimately a product of the political fragmentation and power struggles that characterized the 3rd century, a period when the empire was threatened on multiple fronts, both from external invasions and internal power struggles. Carinus's reign was short, lasting only about 2 years, and was marked by political intrigue, military conflict, and a series of challenges from rival claimants. His death at the hands of his own soldiers or in battle marked the end of his brief rule and the rise of Diocletian, who would go on to stabilize the empire and make far-reaching reforms. Carinus's reign remains a footnote in Roman history, often overshadowed by the greater figures of the period, but it offers valuable insight into the volatile nature of Roman imperial politics during the crisis of the 3rd century.